Hello guys, welcome to another session. In this session, we are going to look into what are the ways to add the CSS into the HTML documents. So let's jump into the topic. So basically, we have three ways by which we can add the CSS into the HTML documents. The first way is the inline style, second way is the embedded style, and the third way is the external style. In this session, we are going to discuss about inline style sheet and the embedded style sheet. In the next session, we will discuss about the external style sheets. So let's start our discussion on inline style sheet. Inline style sheet is one of the way you can add the CSS into the HTML document, but it is not the preferred way. It is time consuming to style multiple elements. So why it is time consuming? So let's understand it. Suppose a scenario where you have more than 20 div and you want to style it individually. So to style these div elements, you have to style 20 times using inline styling method. That is really very drudgery and time consuming task. And the second problem with the inline styling is that it is very difficult to manage if you have to change any of the properties of the CSS. For example, changing the color of the div. So that means you have to repeat it 20 times for each of the div wherever we have used the inline styling. And the third point, which is inline styling, is messy. If these number of inline styling go into the HTML document, so it will look like very messy. So you must be asking that these number of problems inline styling is having. So what is the use of inline styling? Why we are keeping it? But there are reasons to keep the inline styling within the HTML document. And the reason is that you have to use the inline styling for overriding the existing applied styles. So it is really good for specialized rules that I will demonstrate you later. Now let's have a discussion about embedded style sheet, or say embedded styling. Again, embedded styling is time consuming to apply global style. For example, if you have a various pages and if you want to style various p tags in each of the pages and you want to apply same style to each pages, so that means you have to go each pages and embed the internal style sheet on each of these pages. That is very time consuming and very hard to maintain. So you can imagine that if any change is coming, then it is very difficult to update. You need to go into each of the pages and do the changes if you are going with the embedded styling. But it is really very useful whenever if you have a requirement to style a specific page in a different way, then you can use the embedded styling within the HTML document. So let's jump into the Visual Studio Code. And where we can get our hand dirty. So we are into Visual Studio Code and we are using the same HTML document which we have created earlier in the previous session. So now let's apply some inline styling in this HTML document. So here, to apply inline styling, we have to use an attribute that is called a style. So style is an attribute, that is a tag attribute. If you don't know about the tag attribute, you can visit my previous course to know more about tag attributes. So for a time being, you can understand that a style is one of the attribute of the element which we can use to apply the inline styling. If you remember our previous session where we have used properties and values in the declaration section, the same way we can use properties and values over here to apply the inline styling. And suppose we want to position this header is absolute, so we can use position, and here we will select the absolute, and we want that top should be 0, so we can tell that 0, and left should be 0. It is the same thing which we have created earlier while learning the CSS syntax. Also you can give the width be 100%, width should be 100%. If you're not understanding any of the properties like position, top, width, left, don't worry about that, we will have a discussion on this. Here the intention is to show you how we can add the inline styling within the HTML elements of the HTML documents. So this is the way you can apply the inline styling. Now we have discussed about it is really very hard to update if we are applying the inline styling. So let's understand that. Suppose we have a scenario where we have multiple p tags. So just copy this one and you will find that we have multiple p tags. And suppose you want to apply the style in this p tag, so you can apply like a style, and here font size you can keep it as 11 pixel, and you want to apply to each of the p tags, so you need to copy it and paste it in each of the tags. So see here, it is really very drudgery task over here. You are going to each of the individual p tag and you are applying it, and suppose if any change came, then you have to again come here from 11 to 12 you want to apply, then again you need to go in each of the p tags. So it is really very painful. So in this particular scenario we are having very less number of tags. Suppose a scenario if you have more than 20 or 30 numbers of p tag and you want to apply the inline styling on each of them, so you can imagine how boring it is. So there are better way to do this. So the better way is we will use the embedded style sheet. So let me remove that and we will look into the embedded style sheet now. So I have cleaned up the inline styling over here. So let's look into embedded style sheet now. So to embed a style sheet over here, we need to go to the head section and we will use the style element, and here we need to specify within this tag we need to specify our styles. So let's specify it. So again within that we need to write the CSS syntax which we have learned. So for p tag I'm going to apply the declaration, and that is for the font size, and that is going to be 12 pixels. So we can easily apply over here. So this is exactly the same what we have learned earlier. Now with the help of this syntax you have applied font size of 12 pixels to each of the paragraph element, and we are embedding this style into this page. So that means this is specific to this page. So and with the help of this embedded style sheet it is pretty much easy to update any change, and if you want to update it to 11 pixel you can easily do it coming over there, and it would be applied to each of the paragraph element or say p tag. So now let's understand what is the problem with the embedded style sheet. Suppose if you have multiple pages, so let me create some multiple pages over here. So here I have created two more pages with page 1 and page 2, and both are containing the same content if you go inside that. And suppose if you are applying an embedded style sheet, so that means for each individual document you have to go and individually you should apply it in each of the document. For example, you have to come over here and again you need to apply the style, and within that you have to specify the p tag over here for this particular page. So that is again a problem. And suppose if you have multiple page, for example more than 30 and 40 pages, that means you have to go to the individual pages and you have to apply the styles, and if any change is coming then again you need to go inside that and change within the style of that particular page. So this is again a problematic. So this is not the right solution. Then you must be asking that what is the solution for this problem. So the solution is the external style sheet, which is a standard across the industry for applying the style sheet on HTML pages. External style sheet we will learn in next session, where we will look into how external style sheet helping us to solving this problem. So this is what I wanted to demonstrate you in this session. See you in the next session where we will discuss about external style sheet. Till then, bye bye, take care.